That's right, folks. It's time for another vintage computer feature. And what we've got here is a fairly nondescript desktop clone here, Mark-16. And you can see here, pretty much nondescript, not really much of any interest other than this down here, which is kind of interesting. I expected that that was a Colorado drive, but it's not. It's actually an Irwin branded drive. I'm not sure what the difference is, but it's got a tape drive in it. I've never actually really owned a Colorado tape drive before, as hard as that may be for some people to believe. As is customary for machines of this age, the power switch is the nice big red deal on the side there. And it's in good shape. This is pushed in a little bit, but I think that's just the way that it was installed. I can probably fix that fairly easily. You come around to the back, you can see what it looks like. This has a CGA video card, so there's probably not much, in fact there isn't much that I can really do with it right now. I don't have anything here that would actually work with that. There's a telephone modem. I'm not really sure whose it is. It doesn't say on it. There's a parallel and a game port. You have two serial ports there, 25 and 9 pin. There's the AT keyboard connector. Power supply vent for the full-size AT power supply. Now the interesting thing about this machine is actually visible right here. You can see it says Mark-16 personal computer, model number AT-16. But take a look at this. Craftsman Electronics Inc. Now that had me curious, of course, because the Craftsman that I know was a Sears brand. And I was thinking there's no way that this was manufactured for Sears and sold by Sears as a personal computer, but of course, stranger things have certainly happened. Well, no, it is not that Craftsman. It is a different Craftsman that, as far as I can tell, was based out of somewhere in Georgia. That lasted all of about, what was it, like 3 years, maybe, at most. I think they opened in 1990, or their filings were in 1990, and the last time anybody ever really heard from them was 1993, so going from memory anyway. So it wasn't a really long-lived business, and it's just another name in the laundry list of manufacturers of PC and AT clones. Which brings me to the system itself. I'm going to take a guess, just a wild stab in the dark, because it says AT-16 on the back, that this is a 286 clocked at 16 megahertz, which would actually be a pretty nice 286. Let's see, I'm going to pop the cover. It looks like this is a rarity. All 5 of the case screws are still here. That's amazing. There's 2 there, there's 1 there, and there's another 2 over there. So I'll have to get those out and pop this, because I do want to take a look and see what kind of shape the boards are in. Not real optimistic. There were no listing pictures of this thing with the cover taken off. I haven't opened this yet. This is my honest, unrehearsed reaction. Okay. I see a hard drive. I apparently can't get that off. Here we go. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, oh, I don't like that. The fact that that's just kind of allowed to ride around as it sees fit. So that probably doesn't work. Looks like the speaker has gotten dislodged. And that might have broken. Yeah, I think that broke. Although maybe I can put that back. Looks like it would sit right there. Maybe it actually sits right here. But I can probably put that back. Looks like this would take expansion RAM on a board there that I don't have, but it's filled with 30-pin SIMs. Taking a closer look here at this board, do I see a barrel bomb somewhere on here waiting to detonate? I don't. Here's the CPU. Let me see if I can get this hard drive. Oh, I moved it, now I can't move it back. That's been upgraded, potentially. That is a 386 DX25. So, yeah, I never really could have guessed that, just based on the model number. So it's possible that this is not even the original logic board. Well, I'm stuck in the Macintosh world. It's possible this is not even the original motherboard for this machine. Which, of course, makes it less interesting. Like I said, I'm looking for a barrel battery. And given this is a 386 board, it almost certainly has one somewhere. Or at least a battery connection. Trying to look around all these cables is not really working. It looks like that tape drive hooks up with the floppy. Kind of an oddity. I'm not seeing any corrosion or anything weird. Oh, never mind. I see some corrosion down there. Yeah, I see corrosion. Alright, I'm going to have to get these cables out of the way and take a look. Maybe I could use the camera. Oh, yeah. Well, this might not work anymore. Look at that. So, that's a little sad. But, considering the machine really is ultimately not all that interesting, if the power supply works, who cares? To be quite frank about it. I'm certainly not going to lose any sleep over it. And I've got other 386 motherboards that I could put in here if I really wanted to. I'd have to think about that. In fact, I got a 286 board that I could probably put in here if I really wanted to. But yeah, someone tells me that don't work no more. I'll have to see if I can get that battery out of there so it can't do any more damage. But I think the damage is already done. And you can see, yeah, there's definitely corrosion. You can see it there. So this board was not saved, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, that's a shame, but, you know, not unexpected. And I don't feel too bad, considering there's probably a bunch of good parts here, if nothing else. And I got to make this video about it. So, what else is in here? Let's take a look. Who made this video card? DEI. Well, that's a swear word these days. Oh. Focus. Gemini. VC001. How about this modem? Who manufactured this modem? Again, looks like just a generic part. Probably the same deal with this. This is an I/O card right here. And then this is a disk controller for both floppy and IDE. What is this hard drive? 7120 AT. I have another one of these. So it's about 120 megabytes, even though, yes, it says 130 on there. It's not 130, it's 120. The manufacturer's specified capacity. Yeah, it looks like this might have overshot where it's supposed to go. This tape drive, but mostly just a moot point. You can see, kind of interestingly, underneath it all, it's got these kinds of switches, which is standard. It's pretty standard for this, but I don't know. I don't even know if powering this thing on would be a good idea. Here's a battery supply, 180 watts of pure AT power. The reason why I say it might not be a good idea is because who knows when the last time this saw power was. And you can't soft start these. So the likelihood is that it will probably cause a capacitor explosion if it doesn't blow something else up in the process. But, well, you know what? The machine is pretty much junk anyway. So I don't know how much effort I am going to put into cleaning up this motherboard or anything like that. I'm going to see if I can put the speaker back. Although it looks like this speaker has probably seen some better days too. I don't know. Looks like it might be kind of smushed. But I'll see if I can put that back. And I'll put the cover back on, and then I'm going to try and just power it on as a quick power test. Just to see what would happen. I think I'll pull that battery first, though. Okay. Well, did get it off of there. That put up quite a fight in order to get off of this board. But it allows us to see the true extent of the damage, especially now that I've got these ribbon cables out of the way. And yeah, that is pretty much terminal right there. Looks like it's rusted the board. And it's got a little bit of damage on that. That's an Opti chip. That's the chipset, so there's definitely communications to the chipset that are broken. It looks like there's stuff. Those are bad. What is that? That's an MP9130. That's junk. I think there's two of those. The thing that's really concerning, though, is that one of the ROM chips is right there. So, yeah, I don't think this board works anymore, but it's not going to stop me from trying to power it on, because I do want to see if the power supply is any good. Because, yeah, you can replace the fallen board. I could probably find another board somewhere. In fact, I think I probably have one. Give this thing a nice soup up. Put like a Pentium in here. No, maybe not that new. But I do somewhere around somewhere. I don't know where it would have gone, but I did have a 386 board. Although I don't know if it works, because I think that one also succumbed to some battery corrosion. I'd have to try it. Okay, I must admit I'm a little nervous, because I haven't had a computer like this blow up in a long time. There could be all manner of who knows what in here. Refa capacitors. Hope the switch is off. Okay. Well, it's now or never. Let me see if I can get back here. Kind of afraid of this. Can you tell? Yeah, that sounds like that's about ready to explode. I didn't see any lights come on. So I don't think that works. I'll give it one last quick shot here. I don't really want to stand near it in case it does blow up. We'll see if it does anything on the LEDs. Really briefly. I get a flash of the hard drive light. Yeah, maybe. Still a little wary of it. I hope it doesn't go bang when I do this. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's coming on. I don't see smoke or anything. Also, don't really hear a hard drive spinning up. Oh yeah, nope. The flickering light there is pretty much a dead giveaway. The power supply is junk. So, well, that's pretty much a write-off. So I'll have to decide what I want to do with this. Probably hang on to it for some pieces, but I think the power supply is no good, and it's almost certain that the motherboard's no good. So the rest of this will just have to be parted out and used to get another computer running. Kind of smells a little burnt, I don't mind telling you. Yeah, that smells a little burnt. So, yeah, like I said, based on that pulsating hard drive LED, I would imagine that either the power supply was hitting a current limit or there's problems with the filtering, which probably means a capacitor is about to explode. And no thanks to that. So I guess this computer won't be getting a follow-up after all. I was prepared to tell you that I was going to take this thing and plug it into a monitor and a keyboard and try it out and see what all was on it, but I guess that's just not going to happen in its current state. So, there you go. Other than the name, I guess this was just kind of a giant waste of time, and even then, the name isn't really all that special either. So, I guess this whole thing really was just kind of a giant waste of time. My camera battery is just about dead. So, I suppose do stay tuned, because I probably will do something with the parts that are in this. But I don't know what that is right now. So, for the time being, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. You know, it's sad, but it is definitely a reality that you live in when you work with old computers. Sometimes you just find some that don't work, and you can't really do much to fix them. Someone could, if there were enough of a twiddle fingers, patch over the destroyed traces on that, but given how many of them and the critical circuitry that they're powering, because that Opti chip is almost certainly part of the chipset, the BIOS chip is over there, the ROM, and I don't know what those other MP9130s are actually for, but they're gone. There's a couple resistors that look like they were destroyed. And who knows what other damage could be lurking under the shadows. For a 386 board with a 25 megahertz CPU on it, who cares?